Okay, all right. Welcome back to The World is Storytelling. I'm sat here, not standing, with the awesome Dan. Now, Dan, I got to know because he has the best coffee around where I live. And he also very nicely helped me with part of my coffee project a while back. But the thing that hit me most about Dan at first was that the coffee shop, which is great, by the way, Prism Coffee in Saltwell Park, is vegan as standard. Now, I've always been curious. How come?
For a start, I think this is where kind of most people get surprised. I am not vegan.
You're not?
I'm not. No.
Okay.
I am vegetarian, but I'm not vegan. But a really, really big part of Prism Coffee's ethos is the environment. At the end of the day, half of the shop is an eco corner shop. And plant-based is definitely the way forward. There's a much longer discussion to be had as to why it is that I'm vegetarian and not vegan, all these different bits and bobs. But as a business at the heart of a community, I feel that it is part of my responsibility to kind of, try and move things forward. At the end of the day, my business was inspired by the birth of my daughter, and I obviously want a better future for her. Early on we're talking about it, and like the first ever memory that kind of came to mind was, I think I was like 3 or 4 years old. We were on holiday in France, walking along the beach, and the entire beach, as far as the eye could see, was just covered in hermit crabs. And everybody was just walking on the beach as if they weren't there, trampling all over them, stepping all over them, and It really got to me, and I just kind of started pushing people away, shouting at them, screaming at them, saying, no, don't step on the crabs, no. And it took my parents by surprise as well. Yeah, kind of how people can just brush nature aside when it is really the thing that looks after us and that sustains us, And then that kind of then went on, my early 20s. I had a German girlfriend, went to live in Germany, and vegetarianism and veganism was a much bigger thing than it was here or even elsewhere for that matter. And that's kind of when I first dipped my toes in vegetarianism, and the relationship broke down, and I went to move back to Spain. And I remember the day after I'd arrived back in Spain, went out for some lunch, as you do, and looked at the menu. Wasn't a single thing on there that was vegetarian or vegan. And so I was like, do you know what, I'm gonna have a salad, kind of like a niçoise style thing. And I was like, look, can I have the salad just without the tuna on it? And they're like, okay, yeah, well, do you want ham on it? I was like, no, just nothing. It's like, well, so what, do you want chicken on it? It's like, no, do you want prawns on it? No, I just don't want anything like that. Just like, and that really, I grew up in Portugal. I grew up in Spain. I spent time, I know culturally kind of what it can be like. And, but it really kind of solidified, the idea that there are just some people that just can't even imagine a world where not a single meal doesn't have meat in it, and being the really stubborn person I am, I kind of just dig my heels in, The reason why the coffee shop at the end of the day, is oat milk is standard for the drinks, as an example. I mean, cow's milk, optional cow's milk, is the only thing that isn't vegan in the shop. Not that I remotely advertise it as such, at the risk of putting people off, which I think in itself is a weird thing. It's just to prove, number one, that you can have environmentally friendly, sustainable, locally made cakes and pastries and coffee that's utterly delicious, but literally doesn't cost us the earth. On the 25th of April, Prism Coffee's first anniversary, we'll stop serving cow's milk.
Completely. Wow, amazing.
Completely. Only 8% of the drinks that I serve are served with cow's milk.
Okay.
So it is a minority. But the thing is, oat milk has 1/10 of the carbon footprint. So let's say I serve 60 drinks that have milk in them. All it takes is for 10 people to have them with cow's milk, and their carbon footprint is bigger than the other 54 people, which is just mental.
Wow.
So it's just one of those things that I feel that I need to do to sleep better at night. Yes, unfortunately, I hope this isn't the case, but I think I might lose some customers. Yes, I'm going to gain some as well. But, the quality of my coffee is my only bargaining tool.
Absolutely. And on that very, very positive note, and it is a positive note because the coffee at Prism Coffee that Dan makes is absolutely phenomenal. And he's not paying me to say this. I can say this as a local who goes to Prism Coffee. Not enough, but definitely does. The view there is also great. The conversation is great. Coffee's phenomenal. What more could you ask for? And it's about having forward-thinking business owners like Dan who are mapping and creating the future. So thanks for coming on the World is Storytelling, Dan. I'll see you next over coffee.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of The World is Storytelling with me, Ronnie. To support the continuation of The World is Storytelling, follow us, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, buy the book, and book yourself an inspirational workshop on how storytelling and the sharing of stories can make the world a better place. Thanks again for listening, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.